Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this advanced webinar series, Train and Empower Your Remote Staff with Zoho Remotely. My name is Anjana Mahesh, and my colleague Gopal Padmanabhan is here, who is our product expert, and we will be your hosts for today. Our webinar session will be very beneficial on how to interact seamlessly with your teammates and clients who have unexpectedly found themselves managing business remotely in this period of uncertainty. If you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to ask them through the chat box window you will see on your screen, and we will answer them. Please note that this webinar will be recorded and the recording will be shared with you shortly. Without any further setback, let me dive into the session. Talking about the agenda of today's webinar session. Firstly, I'm just going to give you a quick overview about our company, Zoho. And next, just about Zoho Remotely, actually what the software is. And then the most important part of the webinar, our product expert will walk you through the collaboration tool, the ShowTime. We will also be sharing few points, knowledge base, user guidelines, and finally, we will dive into a question and answer session. So about Zoho, just a bit about us. We have been in this market for over 20 plus years. We've been building the softwares for the small and the medium business. In our presence, we have more than 190 plus countries with 40 plus applications to run your entire business from end to end. Not just that, we have around 50 plus million users across the globe who trust and run their companies on using Zoho applications. And we have over 8,000 plus employees who runs. Zoho runs on Zoho, and Zoho application ecosystem has a customizable operating system for business, which combines dozens of cloud-based applications with a centralized IT admin panel. Now, talking about remotely, as we all know, Rome wasn't built in a day, but Zoho Remotely, a suite of applications that can help you to communicate, collaborate, and provide remote support and access everything, I would say, even collaboration, communication tools, everything was put in under a week, while over 90% of our workforce worked from their home around the world. And we would like to share this experience with businesses trying to keep going during this pandemic. Privacy. At Zoho, we value your privacy. We never have and never will own your data. Your data is safe in our own data center, and we will do not sell your data to the third parties. Zoho is a GDPR compliant. We will never host advertisement even in our free version of our products. Now let's have a quick overview of this Zoho Remotely product overview. As you can see here, we have actually created this application to make sure you have effective team collaboration, which is the biggest challenge today, as most of us are stuck in our homes with no means to meet our colleagues face to face, or customers as well, or discuss ideas or issues. Trying to communicate only through emails, text messages is also pretty difficult, and often the intended message is not delivered properly. Considering all these factors, Zoho Remotely, we have developed as a suite of 11 carefully crafted applications, which falls into 4 categories: communication, collaboration, remote assist, and productivity. Now let us take a quick look at the Zoho Remotely. As you can see here, this is our user home page, and on the top you can see the admin panel. These applications are added by and assigned to a user that can be accessed from the user home. In this image, all 11 applications have been added. Click, Meeting, ShowTime, which is considered as the communication tool, WorkDrive, Project Sprints, which is classified as in collaboration tools, Assist and Lens would be the Assist Remotely tools, and if you see in the productivity, we have the writer, which is the most powerful word processor, sheet, and also the show. So, as I said before, the right header of the user home has an access button to take you to the admin panel. Now, today's topic, we're going to talk about ShowTime, which is the communication tool. This is basically a browser based web conferencing and online training tool, as you all were aware of it. You can connect to your audience remotely and have real time interaction within a classroom, in a virtual classroom. Its intuitive UI and an easy to use application is very well benefit for it is basically this application, I would say, is trained for trainers, HR, sales, and marketing professionals. So now, without any further setbacks, let's jump into the webinar session. We have a product expert, as I said before, Gopal here. Gopal has been with us, for more than 3 years, and he's been helping our customers in addressing about Showtime, and he's been setting up, how to online classes. He's been teaching quite a lot about this to our customers. He's really versatile at giving this demo session. Well, Gopal, I would just want to give the session over to you. I will just transfer the session. Gopal, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjana, for the brief introduction and also for walking us through the Remotely suite. Hello all, I'm Gopal and I'll now be talking about Showtime in specific and also walk you through with the complete product demo. But for that, let me quickly share my screen and continue the presentation and then move on to the demo. Please give me a moment while I share my screen. Hope you're able to see the slide that I'm presenting now. So as Anjana had just explained, Showtime is an remote training tool. So Showtime comes handy to you, especially during this time of pandemic, because of this pandemic, most of the countries are under lockdown, and since countries are under lockdown, businesses have to move offline. I mean, they have to move online. They have to suspend their office functions, and also move their teams across to different places. In fact, a majority of the workforce are also connecting remotely from their homes. But when this collaboration is happening online, so how do we ensure your employees have a steep learning curve and they continue to upskill and reskill themselves even when they are working remotely? So that is where an online training tool like Showtime comes into play. Showtime is a single comprehensive solution for all your training requirements. You can, with Showtime single portal, you'll be able to set up your digital training profile for your company. You can invite and add other trainers in your organization to a single portal and manage and oversee all the sessions that are happening in your company as the head of the training team. And as a trainer, you can then launch live sessions or on-demand sessions. You can engage with participants by presenting slides or videos, or you can also just do a screen share to deliver content. And similarly, your participants, that is your staff who are connecting to your session from various parts of the globe, they can log in from their mobile app, Showtime's mobile app, or their computer devices and engage with you through Q&A. They can participate in the polls that you're launching and also take part in chat discussions through the chat option that is available in Showtime. So this way, they get an enriching learning experience even when the entire training is happening virtually. So that is about Showtime in general. Now let me dive into the product straight away so that it helps you understand and get a hands-on on how Showtime works. Please give me a moment. I'll stop sharing my presentation and dive into the product. Hope you're all able to see the product interface now. Please give me a moment. Let me ensure the interface is visible. All right, I guess we are good to go. Let me now start off with the demo straight away. So if you are part of Zoho One or Zoho Remotely suite, Showtime is already part of it. And to access Showtime, all you need to do is just click on showtime.zoho.com on your browser, and you will land on this screen. The moment you land on this screen, before you start scheduling and launching a session, you can quickly set up your team of trainers. So for that, you click on the admin console on the left pane. So inside the admin console, you have a bunch of options, but the most relevant ones are is to first build a team of trainers. For that, you click on the Manage Users tab. In the Manage Users tab, you already see uh, I have a bunch of trainers under my portal. But to add more trainers, I can click on the Invite Users button, type in their email address, the trainer's email address, and invite them in specific roles, so that all the trainers who are inside this portal, whatever session being conducted as the head of organization or as an admin, I'll be able to manage and oversee the sessions and how successful they are going on for. So once you have built your team, you can then move on to creating and delivering sessions. To create a session, you click on the Create Session button here inside the Sessions tab. As you can see, Showtime offers three types of session. A remote session, which is the most popular option, that is a live instructor-led module where you broadcast your audio and video as a presenter and engage with hundreds of participants. And then comes the face-to-face session, which is quite which is not so relevant in this current time, where if you are hosting a session in a physical classroom or in a setup where your audience are sitting right in front of you, then you can choose this. Or then comes the on-demand session. This is more like a self-paced learning format. You upload videos and let your viewers watch it at their convenience. So now I'll focus on the remote session, since that'll be more helpful in this current situation for us. So you choose the remote session option, and say if you're going to train your staff on sales skills, then let it be about give a name for the session so that your trainees will be aware what's in store for them. If it's about enterprise sales training, you have a trainer who is expert in training your sales staff, sales force, then you can have the trainer create the session and launch it. And give a brief description so that your participants will know what they are going to learn through the session. And if your trainings are very frequent, they happen on a weekly or daily or monthly basis, then you don't have to go about creating each session multiple times. You can simply automate it by choosing the occurrences. And then you can choose a schedule. Say if this training is set for tomorrow and around 10 a.m. tomorrow, then you can set the time here for tomorrow 10 a.m. And you can also pick a duration. A single virtual classroom session, a live session, can go on up to 8 hours in Showtime, but which is quite unlikely. An average live session might span around 1 hour to 3 hours. So let us just stick to that for now. I picked an hour session for the duration. And then as a head of the training team, you can also schedule and assign sessions on behalf of other trainers, since you are the admin. So in this case, I can assign this training to any of the trainers in my team and get them to host it. So once you have created a session, you land on the session details page. On this page, you see this link. This is the URL that you need to be sharing with all your trainees or attendees so that they can log into the session. They can you can share this link over email or on your WhatsApp, so that they can just click on it and start joining in, either from Showtime's mobile app or from their own laptops. So once you have this link ready, you can then also add more trainers into the same session. So say if you have more than one topic to discuss inside the session, why do you have to host multiple sessions for that? Instead, Showtime lets you have more trainers inside one session itself. So these trainers can either, as co-trainers, they need to be part of your organization. Very soon, we will also introduce the guest trainer feature, where you can add any other expert from outside on an ad hoc basis to speak in your session. So this way, one trainer can be connected from India and another person can be connected from United Kingdom, and you can all address audiences from across the globe. So this way, there is virtual interaction happening despite the distance. So I have now added a couple of trainers as test into in this session that I'm going to launch. And then comes the session material option. In the session material, unlike other tools that let you only to do screen share to share a material, Showtime allows you to upload materials beforehand. So this way, you don't have to do a screen share, open your presentation or a video that you want to show from your computer. You can have all that added to ShowTime's library. So if I have a material already available in my library, then let me go ahead and pick it. Say for instance, if I have to pick from one of the presentations that I want to show, then I will just pick the presentation. And if I have to add, apart from the presentation or a PDF, if I want to show any course video inside the session, I can do that as well. Since ShowTime supports multiple formats of materials, let me now go ahead and choose a video as well. So I am now going to be broadcasting a presentation and as well a video. So once I have uploaded the session materials, then comes the polls. Polls, as you know, are ways to quickly assess your attendees. If your staff, if again, if the training is about sales skills and you ran through them a bunch of slides, and if you want to quickly assess whether they have understood the concept, whether they are following your training, then you can launch polls midway to capture and understand how much they have learned from the training that you have taught. So for that, you click on the create new poll button, and ShowTime allows you to create 3 types of polls. You can create any number of polls that can be launched inside the session. Well, if you are frequent in hosting such trainings and if you want to maintain a library of polls, you can do that as well. So that if you want to pre-feed them into the session, you can just pick and drop them into the polls of this session from the library that's readily available, so that you don't have to go about manually creating polls each time. And apart from polls and materials that you will showcase inside the session, what if you want to give your attendees or employees and extra study materials or any other reference books that they can access even after the session by downloading them? So for that, you can use the handouts option in ShowTime. You again attach a material. Let me now attach a ebook that I want to share with my staff who are attending the training. They can once they attend the session, they'll be able to download them inside the session itself and use it as reference later on. So I have now completed the basic session details. Now as a trainer, if I have to invite my staff into the session, I don't have to use a separate campaigns tool or go to my inbox to type in the email. I can just click on the invite button under the people tab here. When I click on the invite button, it gives me an option to upload all the staff details on an Excel sheet. Say if you have hundreds of staff, then you want to invite all of them in a single shot, then you can upload their details on an Excel and just import it as contacts. Once you do that, an email will be triggered from ShowTime itself to their inbox, an invitation email. After you invite people, you can then go to set the other various settings that ShowTime offers. Under general settings, you have this option to anonymize the question. That is, if you want, there are cases where the attendees might feel too shy to ask questions in the open, where the questions will be visible to everyone. In that case, you can check this box so that the questions asked by them will appear only to the trainer alone, that is yourself. Or similarly, if you do not want any other distraction in your session, the training, and you want it to be more focused on content, then you can disable this chat room option, so that nobody has an access to the chat and they cannot chat with each other. Similarly, to record all your sessions automatically, just check this box. All your session will automatically start recording as soon as you broadcast. And after polls, as polls help you assess them live during the session, what if you want to evaluate them after the session ends, probably over a questionnaire or as a survey, to thoroughly understand how well the session panned out? For that, you click on the evaluation tab here, and you can add questions. The questions that you add here will appear as a questionnaire form for them after you complete the session, after you end the session. So all the answers that they give here based on the questions that you have asked will be available to you as analytics. So this can be used both as evaluation or as a survey to just capture feedback about the training that you're conducting. So with this, you have set your session, your uploaded materials, and you're ready to launch the session. But before we launch the session, let me also join as a participant in the adjacent tab so that I can show you how a participant can interact with the trainer in ShowTime. So I am now joining as a participant too on the adjacent tab. All right. So now that I have added a participant as well, let me go ahead and launch the session. So when I launch the session, it takes me into the session broadcast screen. Over here, it checks for my audio and video connections. So I'm just muting my audio here in this session because there'll be echo. You have to turn on your audio and video device, whichever device that you have connected as output, and you continue the session. As you continue on the adjacent screen, when we have the participant also goes through these mic access checks so that the participant can speak to you during the session. I'll just join as a test participant here. So give in a name. And over to the presenter screen now, the presenter can see how many people have currently joined the session. If there are, say, about 50 people who have joined, and everybody's name will be visible to the trainer, and the trainer can also see how many co-trainers are part of this session. After this, once you're all set, you click on Start Broadcast button. Once you start broadcast, if you have turned on your video, then your participants will be able to see your face and you can interact with them through video broadcast. And once you're done with the introduction part, then you can move on to presenting the slides by clicking on the Share Material button on the bottom pane. So on the bottom pane, you have all the materials that you have added that appears. So first, let me pick the presentation that I want to show. So the entire slide deck appears to me. I can walk my participants through the slide deck. So I can move over slides this way. But remember, the participants will be able to see only the present slide that I'm presenting right now and the ones that I've presented earlier. For instance, on the participant screen, as you see, only 3 slides are visible to the attendee. So that is how a presentation option works. And apart from presentations, if you want to move over to the video that you want to show during the live session, then you can click on the video that you had uploaded earlier. So now instead of the presentation, your trainees will start seeing the video. You can play such videos so that the session becomes much more intuitive to them. You don't have to rely on presentations and PDFs, such static content alone. You can make your session much more dynamic through such videos. So apart from presentation and other materials that you pre-feed, if you want to quickly show them anything interesting on the internet, or if you want to give them a product demo by sharing your screen and walking them through the app, then you can use the screen share option as well. So when I do a screen share, I can choose to share my entire screen and go to YouTube and play any YouTube video that I want to show them, any interesting video that I want to show to my staff who have come here to learn. And once I have done playing the video, I can then come back to the screen to do stop screen share and move over with the presentation itself. And apart from the presentation and screen share that we saw, you can also start and stop recording using this button. So you can record your session multiple times. You can just leave the recording at one go so that the entire session gets recorded. So that is about how you can deliver content. But now, what about the participant side interaction? Let me show you that. So I'm now moving on to the participant screen. When I click on the participant tab, the participant has the option to ask questions by clicking on the questions tab on the left pane. So they can type in their question. So the moment an attendee asks a question, it pops up to the trainer as a notification here on the trainer's window. You can check which participant has asked what question. You can either type in the reply, or you can also choose to project it to the entire classroom so that everybody inside the session will get a broadcast message of this question, and you can answer this question over mic itself. So that is one option. And similarly, if you want to run polls, you click on the polls tab, and you have all the polls that you have pre-fed readily available to you. You can launch them one by one. You can also create polls even live during the session in case you have suddenly you have a question in mind that you want to ask your participants, you want to test them with, then you can midway through you can also create polls. So let me now launch a poll. Say I've launched a poll now, and the participant screen, they get an intuitive pop-up like this where they can submit their answers. So your participants can participate in any number of polls that you launch and submit their entries. So as they keep participating, you get real-time update on how the polls are going. Similarly, you can launch one poll after the other. There is no restriction on the number of polls you can launch. And after the polls, we have the chat window here. So this is an open chat room for everybody who is present inside the session. So as a trainer, I can send in a welcome message. I can also make any announcements about the session or anything else that I want to inform them. Similarly, even the participants can go to the chat tab on their left pane. They can also type in a message. What if the participant wants to speak to the trainer in private and does not want to ask questions, anything in the open, or if they want to have a conversation, personal conversation, then we have an option called private chat room. So when they click on the private chat room, the trainer and the trainee can speak to one another in a private space. So they can just have a conversation. So this way the interaction remains personalized, and there is also ways that your participants will open up on a lot of doubts that they don't want to ask in the open. So that is about the different types of interaction the participant can do. And apart from this, we have a couple of more options. One, the handouts that you had uploaded earlier, your participants can click on it, and if they have any ebooks to be downloaded, they can do so by clicking on the handouts button. And apart from asking questions and taking part in polls and chats, what if the participant wants to talk to you orally? So that is why we have the open mic option for the participants. So the attendee can request a mic access, request to speak to you. Um, since this is a training platform, we do not allow mic access to everybody because it might become chaotic, since the intention here is to learn and not to have a meeting kind of setup. So that is why we have this open mic request, where as a trainer, you have the authority to approve each time when a participant requests for mic, so that the class atmosphere becomes much more regulated and less chaotic. So you can choose to approve which participant wants to speak, and then go ahead speaking to the participant. So that is about the interaction that you can have inside the live session. Now I will end the session, and I'll show you about the evaluation and also the analytics that ShowTime offers. To end the session, you click on the end session button here. When you click on end session, as soon as you end it, your participants will get this survey form. You can add as many questions here that your participants can submit. All of this will be available to you as analytics. I'll now open a session where I have created robust analytics earlier, so that you will get an idea of how comprehensive the statistics that ShowTime offers. As you can see, Showtime gives you comprehensive data on engagement, how much time on an average an attendee spent inside your class, the questions asked, polls, and so on. If you want to drill down further, you can also click on the respective tabs. Under questions, we have all the questions that you were asked and answered. And if you have a question like this that went unanswered, then you can later on reach out to that particular trainee and clarify their doubts. Similarly, we also have all the chat transcript that happened during the session, both public and the private chat. And under polls, we have the option to view the poll result. Here you can see participant-wise options for each poll. This will give you an idea as to which participant got the concepts right and who needs more help. Finally, in the evaluation tab, again, you can drill down their answers participant-wise and question-wise to see how the results are panned out. If you have used it as a survey form, then you will get an idea how effective your training was for your remote staff. So that is about Showtime's remote session. So similar to remote session, we also have the on-demand option which you can use. You can click on the create session button again and choose the on-demand option. The on-demand, the major difference is it is a session where as a presenter you will not be present. It is not an instructor-led module. It is just a module where you upload videos that your participants can view at their own convenience, more like a self-paced delivery format. So I'm just creating a test session here. And for on demand, similar to remote session, you can instead of presentations, you can upload videos that your participants can click and watch it at their convenience. So this way, even people in other time zones are not left out of your live session if you encourage participants to take up on demand learning. So that is about Showtime's remote and on demand sessions. Now let me move on to the presentation and transfer control back to Anjana so that we can start taking up questions, and we'll be happy to walk you through the other half of the session that's available. Please give me a moment while I transfer control. I'll now stop sharing my screen and transfer control to Anjana.
Thank you, Gopal. That's really very, very useful. Hi, guys. I hope you guys had a good session with Gopal on the Showtime webinar.